Can I welcome everybody to the March meeting of the Liverpool City Region Combined Authority. Welcome particularly to members of the public. Before moving into the detail of the meeting, there is just a few housekeeping points. As usual, I want to mention, first of all, can I remind everybody that all mobile phones should be turned to silent for the duration of the meeting. And to ensure that everyone in the chamber can hear the debate, can I please ask that members and those presenting reports use the microphones, please. And finally, as ever, the meeting will be filmed by officers from the Combined Authority and will be available on the Knowsley Council YouTube channel later today. So, with those preliminary remarks, I'll go to item number 1, which is apologies. Do we have any apologies for absence?
Apologies have been received from Matt Anderson, Robert Hoff and Steve Pennant.
Okay, any other apologies we need to register? No? Okay, so we'll register those apologies. Item 2, declarations of interest. Do we have any declarations?
None received, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Item 3 are the minutes of the last meeting of the Combined Authority held on the 13th of February. Pages 1 to 10 of your agenda pack. Can I ask, are these approved as a correct record of the meeting? Agreed? Thank you very much. Okay, that takes us on then to the first substantive item of transport, which is One North interim report. And I'm delighted that Councillor Liam Robinson is going to speak to this. Liam, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Just a brief verbal update with regard to the development of One North. As members know, that's a very ambitious proposition to improve connectivity right across the north of England, to bring us closer together as a functioning economic region right across the north of England, to grow our local economies, but crucially help rebalance the British economy overall. The One North proposition obviously was an ambitious set of proposals developed by the north of England. That is now, as members are aware, moving in partnership with central government under the umbrella of Transport for the North. As part of that proposal, we're currently working on a joint interim report that can be submitted to central government to inform not just the budget but crucially the comprehensive spending review and developments into the future. The next meeting of Transport for the North that I'll be attending on behalf of the region is on Wednesday. And when I get the final draft of that interim report, I'll be sharing it with all the leaders, as I've done throughout the process, to make sure that we're all happy that it reflects the aspirations of all 6 districts of the city region. In terms of having been working on the process for a number of weeks and months now, we're expecting that the latest draft will focus on asking government for funds to do some detailed investigation work over the next 12 months of the type of infrastructure projects we want to develop and deliver for the north of England to improve that connectivity. Crucially for ourselves in the city region, the wider north, there will be some large focus on the new potential of a trans-north east-west railway, something that we could colloquially dub HS3. And from our perspective, one of the things that we've been consistent and very clear about is the need to do some detailed investigation on a new high-speed line from the Liverpool City region, going east towards Manchester and then onto Yorkshire and the east coast, but crucially also having a connection onto the HS2 network, as we strongly believe that is what is required, not just to meet our aspirations for high-speed connections east-west, but also north-south as well. So we're very confident that detailed work should be reflected in that document. What I would say as part of that, though, is it remains vitally incumbent on all of us to continue to do all the detail and hard work, the lobbying that is required to make sure that need for a full high-speed link in and out of the city region to serve both our east-west requirements but also our north-west requirements, north-south requirements is reflected and heard accordingly.
Thank you for that, Liam. Comments, questions? Rob?
Thanks, Chair. I think it's the reports we absolutely welcome, and in particular I'd like to thank Liam in particular the work that he's done politically to bring all this about. Particularly pleasing about the commitment to bring closer together on the transport arrangements, because it doesn't make a lot of sense if we're moving into the future in terms of economic growth to have duplication. So the quicker that happens, the better. The other concern I have, and I haven't had it definite yet, but in concerning the electrification of the line through to Manchester and further east, my initial thoughts are, and I'm hoping it's only hearsay, is that the new electrificated lines will not be stopping at Highton. Now, as you know, Highton is the metropolis of the Liverpool city region, and it would be unthinkable that a train didn't stop going east.
Liam, do you want to come back on that?
Yeah, no, absolutely, because that's a very, very important point that Ronnie makes. Obviously, the electrification work of the Chatmoss line that goes through Highton has recently been completed. The first electric train actually ran yesterday morning from Manchester to Liverpool and vice versa. Obviously, we need to make sure that we've got proper connectivity for those locations on the route. And one of the things that we've been particularly lobbying very hard for is to have an additional stop at Highton on the Liverpool to Manchester Airport fast train. So that's something we're pushing very hard for under the next Northern Rail franchise, which will pick that up. Equally, whilst we're just talking about electrification, because it would be remiss of me not to mention it, the government set up the North of England Rail Electrification Task Force last year to look at suitable candidates to put more electrification on the North Rail network. That task force reported back yesterday with a number of lines that it recommended for prioritisation for electrification across the north. I'm really pleased to say that the lines that came out second and third highest for prioritisation were the Liverpool to Manchester line via Warrington, which obviously goes through Knowsley and Holland, but also in third position the Southport and Kirby lines that go into Manchester as well. So absolutely delighted that that task force has recognised the importance of those lines and the potential for those to be electrified in the future. And I think that gives us a lot of ability to continue to lobby very hard to see that become a reality at a point in Network Rail's next control period.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? Liam, can I just check, is there any more work that we can collectively be doing around the kind of high-speed link into the city centre that you quite rightly mentioned?
I think that the crucial part is to continue all the lobbying that we have been doing over the past year to make sure it's heard very loudly. And particularly as we approach general election, it's important that our message is heard loudly and clearly by all the political parties and influences any future governments accordingly. So I think from our perspective, the real key focus is to maintain the lobbying, but obviously there's lots of detailed work that we're doing on the case according of the city as well.
Okay, if there are no other questions, can I suggest we note that report? And again, I'd join with Ron in thanking Liam for the kind of leadership that he's given the city region on this and other transport agendas. I think it's been excellent, so excellent. Thank you very much. So okay, can we note that, Liam? Okay, thank you. Right, okay, that then takes us then on to item number 5, which is a transport plan for growth. And I'm delighted that Mick New from Halton. Mick, you're here to present this item for us. Over to you.
Thank you, Chair. As I just may recall, with the creation of the Combined Authority, there was a transition plan for transport protocol that set down the requirements to produce a joint strategic framework for transport as well as an investment plan for delivery. And they were to operate from the 1st of April this year. These are now contained in the Transport Plan for Growth, which is what we're presenting to the Authority today. The plan and its proposed investment programme and its taken to support of the City Region's strategic priorities, the links to freight and logistics, employment skills and visitor economy. It sets the direction for greater collaboration and joint working with our private sector partners and other agencies that can help shape and deliver the transport priorities for the City Region. In fact, if you look at pages 56 and 57 of your agenda, you'll see some of the support we've got there from our partners, some really useful quotes, as I say, emphasise what this document means to them. The document also emphasises the importance of transport as an enabler of growth and regeneration. It also shows how transport can contribute to and support relevant policy goals and objectives of the sectors represented by the wider strategic priorities for the city region. It builds on the vision and aims of the two existing LTPs, which will remain in place. I think that's an important point to note. This isn't a document to replace the two LTPs, but it also highlights important developments that have taken place since their publication, which was back in 2011. Particularly the changes in governance, the need to align the three main transport priorities, which are growth, low carbon and accessibility to opportunity, to align more closely with the likes of the growth plan, the strategic economic plan and other emerging strategic plans and priorities. It also reflects changes in funding mechanisms and availability, including the introduction of more competitive bidding processes. And finally, it reflects the national economic policy drivers, localism, devolution of power and particularly growth. The priorities within the delivery plan that's spelled out in the document aim to deliver the outputs and outcomes as referred to in paragraph 3.72 of the report. The programme also reflects the known budgets available to the city region at this time and the activities being delivered within these budgets. These include the Integrated Transport Block, Local Growth Fund, devolved major schemes funding. But it also refers to what's known as the Sustainable Transport Enhancement Package, which is a package of measures worth about £41 million for delivering schemes at a more local level. In total, the city region is now likely to invest over £1.6 billion over the next 6 years in transport and highway improvements. The plan extends beyond the traditional remit of the Integrated Transport Block, which is basically what the previous LTPs focus on, and actually seeks to bring together in future all the transport funding sources for consideration and approval by the combined authority. The delivery plan is a necessity, fluid and evolving, reflecting the transition from the current approach to the delivery of transport across the city region to what should become a more efficient and effective approach under the combined authority. To enable more streamlined delivery during 2015-16, a series of work streams have been identified to support the delivery of the plan. Some of these work streams are set out in paragraph 3.10 of the report, and some will require new ways of working to ensure we develop and deliver schemes effectively and efficiently, and to make sure that these schemes provide value for money. Fortunately, in the city region, we have a really good and successful track record in the delivery of transport schemes. And we aim to build on those achievements with the transport plan for growth. The plan has been developed in partnership with the City Region Districts. It's been endorsed in draft form by both the Combined Authority Implementation Group and the Mercy Travel Committee. And I would now recommend to the Combined Authority that the plan be approved, and ask the Combined Authority to also know the task list set out in paragraph 3.10 of the report. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Nick. Members, comments, questions, points? Anybody wants to make? Ron?
I'm just no problem with the report, Chair, and its recommendations, and obviously we're only being asked to agree.
Ron, could you just speak into your microphone a bit?
We're only being asked to agree in principle. Is that okay?
Yeah.
And it will obviously come back at a later date. I'm looking for the underlying reason why the HCA want to exit from the fund, and the report's not telling me that at the moment. Sorry. That the wrong item?
Yeah, I think we're on to the HCA in just a minute.
Oh,
We're just
sorry,
in the transport
okay,
for
I'll
growth.
come back to you.
It's all right. Just hold that thought, Ron. Hold that thought.
I was looking up for
Transport for growth. Any other comments? Ron? Yeah. Okay. Can I just say? I mean, I think it makes perfect sense to have one kind of strategic framework in which we can look at all our transport priorities and schemes. So I really welcome this report. It does make a lot of sense to bring all these things together. So I think from our point of view, it's a real kind of move forward. So just going to ask you members, can we approve this transport plan for growth, and then, as Mick said, item B, note the task list set out in paragraph 3.10, developed to support the delivery of the plan. Is that agreed, members? Fantastic, thank you very much. Okay, and that then takes us then on to economic development items. Item 6, first of all, is Liverpool City Region Visitor Economy, and I was delighted that Sarah Wan-McEwen, chairperson of the Liverpool City Region Visitor Economy Board, is here to do a brief presentation for us on the visitor economy. So you're very welcome, Sarah, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, can be heard across the room. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you today. I'm actually also accompanied by a couple of colleagues from the Visitor Economy Executive and VV, Enter Islands, who is the General Manager of the Ramada Hotel in Southall, and also Mark Sandman, who is the Visitor Economy Executive at the left. There are a couple of purposes of our session with you all this morning. Firstly is to just confirm with you the importance of the visitor economy as a key part of the city region's economic performance and also economic growth prospects. The second, however, is to highlight the key challenges that are facing the management of the destination and also the marketing of the destination across the city region, and to hopefully gain consensus and support for some of the new ways of working that we are currently running through to ensure that we can continue to maintain momentum in the sector and continue to drive economic growth and also jobs right across the city region. So I have a few slides that I would like to just run through with you. The visitor economy is an extremely important sector to the city region. It's one that's often not fully understood nor recognised because of the very broad nature of it. But its overall contribution to the Liverpool city region equates to some 3.6 billion in terms of economic value, and some 49,000 full-time jobs that are right across our city region. It is a very sizable sector. It has been in growth, and we've experienced actually very positive growth over the last decade in the size of that sector, somewhere in the region of moving from 2.5 billion to the current size of the sector now over the last kind of decade. We believe that the sector has far more growth potential and should be seen as a clear and major contributor to forward job creation and forward GDA growth. Some statistics of what's been driving that growth. Across the city region, some 57.6 million visitors are attracted here annually. 4.7 million of those visitors actually staying for one or multiple nights across our city region. And we have seen very good growth ongoing since 2009, as you can see on the chart that's illustrated. We have a very strong, in absolute terms, day visitor market because of the strength of attractions across all parts of the estate. But we've actually seen very good growth in our business tourism, which is a highly lucrative market, and also in staying international and domestic visitors. And as you'd all recognise, a visitor that stays in the city region can be worth more than 2 to 3 times the value of a day visitor coming in. So incredibly important to grow. All parts of the city region contribute to the performance of the visitor economy. We have, however, seen very sharp growth, and one could argue that at the early parts of this growth is catch-up growth in the Liverpool marketplace, as that has become a far more popular destination, codifying some of the attraction that 2008 brought to the city. Liverpool's now the 5th most popular destination for international visitors in the UK. Some 562,000 international visitors stayed in the city last year. It's the 5th most popular destination for domestic visitors, and it's now also the 6th most popular destination for business tourism, where we've come from being quite an outlier at the beginning part of the 2000s to now being 6 in the table. So it is a sector that we should be pleased with and proud of in terms of what it has created. The visitor economy also is a catalyst and has been a catalyst for other significant amounts of investment, both revenue and capital, including infrastructure. And most recently, we will be aware of key investments, the Atkinson in Southport, investment in New Brighton, and also here in Liverpool, the ACCL Arena and Convention Centre, and as will be this year, the new Exhibition Centre, Liverpool. Again, improving the product, the infrastructure, and ultimately leading to those visitor numbers and the economic impact that they generate. We're now able to focus not just on the leisure market, but on the business market also. The business market is predominantly around national with regard to Liverpool and regional with regard to Southport, association, convention and conference business. That's where our growth has actually come from over the past couple of years, people bringing their national and international association and conventions into the city region. And we've worked hard over a recent period to ensure that the strategic importance of the visitor economy is well integrated and connected to the overall growth of the city region and the other growth sectors. This is something that we are particularly keen to ensure we carry forward with regard to infrastructure, certainly physical connectivity in terms of transportation, but actually also quality of life and the place shaping and the overall destination attractiveness, not just for visitors, but for residents, for students, and importantly, obviously, for investors. And aligned to that are asks, certainly, of central government, although they do operate around tourism. So we asked DCMS for support around dual funding and support of Liverpool as an important destination within the UK set of destinations, but also travel out to important things like HS2, connectivity between here and other gateways, critically Manchester Airport. The management of our overall strategy for visitor economy is vested with LEP as the kind of strategic lead, and I thought I would just touch very briefly on what that actually means and how that's kind of constructed. The LEP itself takes overall strategic lead for the visitor economy, and it has a visitor economy board to support it in that pursuit. I chair that board. We, as part of the LEP, have therefore then commissioned Liverpool Vision and its Marketing Liverpool operation to then carry out more of the marketing and convention bureau. So it's the operational, the tactical side of continuing to market the destination, market it to trade, and market it obviously direct to consumers. With the LEP retaining within its visitor economy executive responsibility for funding, policy liaison, research and insights, and also ensuring that we do maintain a strong connectivity across Liverpool City region with all of the local markets, as well as what those markets are at the sum of their parts in terms of a regional strategy. This operation is currently funded through a mix of ERDF Priority 3 and also commercial income. And when you look at our own model versus some of the other larger English destinations outside of London, our own ability to generate and to self-fund this activity through commercial income is actually very strong. We compare very well and in fact are ahead of most of the cities in the pounds that we generate for the value of our overall sector or the number of residents or businesses which are in our domain area. However, it's also the case that staff and activity have been underpinned quite heavily through ERDF funding over the past couple of years. And that's part of the challenge, obviously, that we need to address as that ERDF money now no longer exists in our forward funding and planning. So to give you just a sense of the kind of strategy very briefly, we developed a strategy and a destination management plan for the visitor economy at a city region level. We updated our last strategy at the back end of last year. It's a high-level framework for what we believe is the strategy, the areas where we believe growth lies, what are the opportunities, and how they may be maximised and delivered. And our target in doing so is very much to actually drive economic value and job creation. And these are jobs right across managerial, non-managerial, full and part-time, and right across, obviously, the Liverpool city region. One of the beauties of the visitor economy is it's very diverse in the nature of business and therefore the nature of role that it's able to generate. We've set further ambitious targets for what over the course of the next decade we believe and we would like to see the visitor economy be able to drive and deliver for residents of Liverpool city region. And that's focusing really on a number of market priorities and then a number of enabling strategies. So in terms of market, I gave an indication of how well we've done so far and where the city region can outrank in terms of comparable cities. Nonetheless, we are still ranked in 5th or 6th place in most of those categories. There is still room for growth, and the gap between us and possibly the 2nd or the 3rd city in terms of, or destination, in terms of visitor numbers is often quite large, so there is still quite a quantum of growth that we can achieve. And our focus is very much on how we continue to position and drive national and international conference business into the city region. It's highly lucrative in its own right. An international conference of up to 1,000 delegates staying here can generate about £2.5 million economic value over the period of their stay. However, the business conference market is also an excellent gateway into actually positioning and promoting the rest of the economic offer that we have, as well as the place marketing of Liverpool city region. And whilst we are a real magnet right across the city region for day visitors, growing that overnight and that stay market is really important, and we are focusing, we think, in this next period of our strategy how we continue to build on articulating the city region as a place for culture and heritage, as well as obviously for sport and for nightlife and for shopping and all of the other attributes that's across the markets that we have. The international market also remains important to us. However, there are also enabling things which we are very focused on. I mentioned transport before. Welcome is essential to have a sustainable, long-term growing visitor economy that people want to come back to time and time again. And brand distinctiveness is really key. And across the city region, really being able to understand and sell and market who are we, what do we have to offer, why would you want to be here and why are we different, is very important. This is one of those sectors where standing out and being different is to be applauded. It's what's brought visitors here so far. The strategy itself is consulted upon widely. We work very closely with bodies like Visit England, also on the ground here with local authority, visitor economy officers, and with a very wide church of stakeholders, mainly commercial but not all entirely commercial stakeholders across the city region. And we are beginning now the process of integrating the implementation into the Liverpool city region's other key growth sectors. So looking at how this contributes towards marketing, towards transport, connectivity, place shaping, SME support, training and skills, and that crucial external image and perception. But there are some challenges that we are currently facing. There is an obvious challenge I think any ambitious destination has, which is no one destination sits in isolation from anywhere else. And other destinations see obviously the visitor economy as also an important contributor to their own growth and performance, and the smarter of those destinations continue to focus heavily on ensuring that they have the right product, they have the right skills and workforce, and that they market their visitor economy aggressively. Manchester, for example, have a stated ambition to grow their visitor economy to just under 9 billion by 2020. Birmingham have a stated ambition to grow their visitor economy to just under 5 billion by 2020. So we don't sit in isolation from the market. I mentioned earlier that we do have and have an over-reliance on ERDF. And whilst we have a good commercial mix, it is definitely the case to say that those capabilities around marketing our destination, around managing things like a convention bureau, which is essential in order to bring in international convention business, and the general management of strategy and of liaison with government and with cross-connectivity into our other economic areas. If we don't find a new way of working, we'll put at fundamental risk our ability to continue to operate on all those levels in the same way that we currently do. There's already been a significant reduction in visitor economy resources right across the city region. We all are dealing with a very changing and a very difficult landscape in terms of funding. So in Liverpool there is no dedicated head of the visitor economy. There is no visitor economy provision in St Helens. Wirral's team has been reduced, Southport's team has been reduced, and the LEP's economic team has been reduced over the course of the last couple of years. The fact that we're all continuing to do well is obviously a testament to everyone's focus, but the world is getting more difficult at the same time as we're still sat actually with a lot of market opportunity that can be capitalised upon. And core funding for the visitor economy nationally has also reduced, and there are across the UK somewhere in the region of 110 visitor economy, either destination management or destination marketing companies, many of whom are struggling very considerably, and it is estimated that about half of those will no longer be in existence within the next 1 to 2 years. So in a sense, the survival of both the fittest in terms of your destination and the performance of your destination, but also survival of the fittest in terms of your way of being able to work and how you can pull together properly all elements of public and private sector to actually stimulate, deliver and nurture ongoing growth. You might say, well, we've got very good growth, we've been on a growth curve since 2009, certainly, and isn't this now a time when we can stand back and we can just let market forces be market forces, that this is a great place, people want to come here and invest. I think there's a great danger for us in the city region in that regard. This is a very strong economic sector, but if you think about a couple of aspects of it yourself, New York isn't necessarily marketed by the Hyatt on Park Avenue. New York is marketed as New York. Individual businesses need to be able to collaborate and work across not only other businesses but also with public sector to make sure that there is a sense of the actual destination and that there is weight behind how the destination can market itself. Likewise, we haven't developed a business market in conferences out of naught. We've stimulated that with the investment in infrastructure like ACCL and as we will do this year with ECL. It is vitally important, I believe, and I'm private sector individual, I see things possibly in very simplistic terms, but in my world it is vitally important that we continue to invest and we innovate and we push ourselves across the city region because this is an area that can actually deliver wealth and jobs and can do so in a sustainable fashion. So, in terms of implementation, as I said earlier, we are at the point now where we wish to take our destination management plan through into implementation. But without all of the funding potential, we need to find very different ways of being able to do that. And right across the region, need to work hard with all of the districts who are seeing, as I said earlier, significant pressures and reductions in physical economy resources to find a different way to actually galvanise our resource so that it still generates the right level of impact. We are starting on that process now. We are in a good place because our commercial proposition is strong and we have strong income generation from commercial activity and from visitor economy membership. But we are losing somewhere in the region of 600,000 ERDF funding, which has been underpinning a lot of our delivery activity. And therefore, as a team, we're currently working with partners around how we could deal with that kind of issue. There are a couple of underlying principles around that. Some of those principles are around how we actually share service, so that across the city region estate, how do we do things differently, share resources, share services, where doing it in one place no longer is possible. We are looking to integrate and align ourselves with other key growth sectors. I mentioned before SME, business assistant, transport skills and improvement investment. And ultimately, we need, I think, to still be able to have the weight behind our marketing operation as well as our strategic development of the sector, despite changes in funding. So as we work our way through, we're also looking at how we might actually integrate with other funding programmes, how we might operate around place and connectivity, and we're currently working through some ideas and initiatives for around a potential project in June this year. Ultimately, though, we need and are seeking from today just some support from the combined authority, agreeing that the visitor economy is important. It's important because of what it actually delivers. It's not just a nice to have, it is integral to the success of the region. That there does need to be some, even though that is reduced, level of public sector intervention, which may be around resource, may be around funding support, that goes along with and runs in parallel with private sector money to support the marketing and the development of the sector. And that the combined authority just supports and helps us with the principle of the new approach that we are looking to put in place. We're not coming here with a particular definitive ask, Chair. We're just wanting to make sure that you're aware that this is an important sector. It doesn't just perform in its own right and on its own. It does require us to all have a strategy and a plan around it. It is a challenge at the moment to be able to do so. We are working hard at finding ways of actually still maintaining our structures and our activity, and I'm confident that we will find solutions to that. But we will need support and cross-working right across the city region just to make the best effort of all the resources that we have.
Sarah, thanks very much for that presentation. I think that's really really interesting and helpful. Questions, Peter?
Yes, can I just...
Peter, just speak into your
Sorry, thank you, Bob. Can I get to a little bit of clarity in relation to the city region? You talked about the city region in a way. It almost came across as sort of homogenous, and it isn't homogenous because we have those disparate areas. And I'll take Southport, for example. And the sense I get in relation to Southport, to be completely frank, is certainly a lack of acceptance, acknowledgement from some of my political colleagues in that neck of the woods that it is part of the city region, that Liverpool is a huge draw, that Liverpool is powering ahead in terms of tourism, and that it is not powering ahead to the same extent because it sees itself as some sort of island in the city region, in fact not in the city region. And I think that in that regard, it's just an observation about the way you can get local people just acknowledge that the world has moved on in relation to the tourism market. That it isn't just about day visitors and photos and parks and gardens and flowers and nice trees and things like that. That's important, but it's significantly more than that. So I just see a reluctance in the part of my borough that is, significantly tourist, visitor economy, visitor economy sector, if you want, to acknowledge that. Any observation on that?
I will, and then I'll pass over to Andrew, who I'm sure has comment on it again. We're having this discussion just last night, actually, Peter, just in terms of, there's two things, aren't there? Do we all fully understand, and that's both business and politicians, and then also residents, do we all fully understand what we mean by visitor economy, and that this is an economy? If this was labelled manufacturing, we might have a different view and understanding of it, but it is equally as rich and can be as equally important for us in terms of jobs for our children and growth for the future. And so I think there is an education piece where we don't probably understand enough about ourselves now as a magnet for visitors and all the dimensions of that. I think we were talking last night, I think there probably is an education piece that's required so that we understand that we now have we have a more mature visitor product than we've ever had before. So we have all the right to play and to develop it. The other aspect of that I think you were touching on is whether we believe that the sum of the parts is very important, and we think it is, and for a number of reasons. Clearly, you know, in any set of products, you will have attack brands. You will have things which are, you know, at the top of people's attention or kind of interest, and we do have attack brands across the city region. You know, the largest attack brand definitely is Liverpool itself. That is a magnet, and it is a magnet for a number of reasons. Interestingly enough, the reasons it is a magnet aren't all the reasons that then people come back. Because if you know it for one or two things, once you're here, you can experience the full benefit of the actual city. And I think the region is very similar to that regard. We get people here in the first instance. It's our job then to actually show them what's on offer across the region, and get that dispersal of visitors on that visit or on repeat kind of visits. And so that is one of the ways that I think it's important that the sum of the parts and the integration works effectively, both from the private sector as well as obviously from our public leaders and officers, you know, understanding that and helping work on what that means in practice, whether it's transportation, whether it's cross-promotion, so on and so forth. And Gregory, you want to speak more specifically then to sector?
I'll just add, I mean, you're right here that there is a certain apathy amongst certain parts of potentially North Sefton about, you know, the whole association with Liverpool. And that's something we've got to overcome. That's something that's got to be led by Sefton Council to some extent, and there is officers working on that. At the end of this, Liverpool is the attack brand. Liverpool is the big name both nationally and internationally, and if we can hang on to the coattails of Liverpool, so to speak, and then showcase the best of what Southport has to offer on the back of that, that's what we should be trying to do. It'd be very naive of us in Southport or North Sefton to ignore what's going on in Liverpool and not get involved in it, have a say in it. But likewise, it'd be naive of Liverpool to not realise what's going on in Southport and the benefits that Southport has in terms of the international world-class events we've got, like an air show, a flower show, a comedy festival, the British Fireworks Championships. All those events are on Liverpool's doorsteps, which Liverpool can benefit from, not just Sefton. So it's a two-way express there. So we just need to clarify that with everybody and all the stakeholders in the North Sefton.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, can I just to kind of round things up, I want, first of all, on behalf of the Land Authority, I want to thank you, Sarah, for the work that you've done, and the board, the District Economy Board that you lead. I think it's been excellent. Just so we've got a kind of formal kind of minute, really, if you like, can I just look at the following? That the Combined Authority agrees on the continued importance of the visitor economy to the economic well-being of the Liverpool City region. Secondly, that we recognise the need to look at new ways of working. And thirdly, that the public and private sector continue to work together to ensure that the visitor economy supports the city region and particularly our growth plan. So if I could just move that as an overarching statement. Are we okay with that? Yes. Okay. Thank you very much, Sarah. Thank you for your presentation. Okay, great. So that takes us then on to item 7, which is the report on Jessica and the HCA transfer engagement. And Jed, you're going to take us through this, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. In anticipation there might be a question about HCA.
You've always been ahead of your time, Jed.
Thank you. I feel that at the moment. Perhaps should have done it before, Chair. I apologise. The HCA, the Homes and Communities Agency, was the residual body for the North West Development Agency and indeed the other regional development agencies when they were wound up in 2010. So that's why they're involved. As part of a national change in direction, they're looking to exit from these kind of arrangements up and down the country. And we are caught up in this as Chrysalis, which is the Liverpool City region version of a programme to do with the European Investment Bank. There's a similar programme for the rest of the North West called Evergreen, which is referenced in the report. And it's a very complex issue, which I wasn't going to go into the detail of today, simply to flag up the fact that HCA is looking to exit this. It's looking to pass the responsibility onto ourselves. There are a number of pitfalls and issues that will need to be worked through before we accept that particular proposal. And obviously, some of those touched on in the report, Chair. The essential point is that I'll bring you back further reports as this develops going forward, but simply to flag up the fact that this is a live issue and a live conversation.
Okay, members, are there any questions? Councillor Round, you may have a question.
It's been answered, Chair. But the issue for me is we are only accepting in principle, because there seems to me in this report quite some way to go yet, and at the end of the day it will be this combined authority that will make the decision whether we agree to take it on board or we don't. That was hence the reason why I was asking the question why the HCA exiting, but that's been answered. So we'll await with interest the reports, Chair.
Okay, thanks Ronnie. And as you say, you know, the devil will be in the detail, won't it? And I think, Jed, you're going to bring more detailed reports back. But it is just the principle, I think, that we're being asked to agree this morning. So recommendations on this report are on page 59 of your agenda pack. Can we agree those recommendations? Agreed. Thank you, Jed. Okay, that then takes us then on to item 8, which is the Liverpool City Region's Assurance Framework for Growth Deal Funding. And David Brown's going to introduce this. Please, David.
Thanks, Chair. Members will recall that we've been very successful in securing a significant amount of funding through the Growth Deal process, and that the government requires the local enterprise partnership to have in place a secure assurance framework for how that money will be discharged. Members also recall that Mersey Travel on behalf of the combined authority are acting as the accountable body for that funding. Therefore, we need to make sure there's an insurance framework in place for the way that the Growth Deal funding is spent. Members have seen previously the insurance framework which was put in place for the transport schemes, which makes up the fundamental block of the Growth Deal. And this paper now expands that out to cover other areas of Growth Deal funding. This is about good governance, about demonstrating credibility to central government that where we've been successful in securing funding, that we have a strong governance and assurance framework to make sure that schemes are being brought forward with strong business cases in accordance with that Growth Deal funding. Section 3.6 of the report highlights the summary of the assurance framework. Unless members specifically request, I wasn't going to go through the assurance framework page by page, but rest assured, it will then go forward to the LEP meeting on the 12th of March and then to the Treasurer of the Combined Authority before we send this down to government, who have indicated that they will really only do business with those places that have got strong governance, both politically but also in financial terms. And this is a good step forward to securing additional funding and demonstrating that we've got the right mechanisms in place.
Thank you, David. Any comments, questions, members? No? So, you can see the recommendations in your pack, pages 63 and 64, paragraph 2. Can we agree those recommendations? David?
Agreed.
Thank you. Thanks, David. Okay, item 9 is the Combined Authority Budget Monitoring Statement, April the 1st, 2014 to January the 10th, 2015. And John, you're going to take us through this, please?
Yes, thank you, Chair. It's the periodic report that you've received at various points in this year. This is quarter 3. As I've mentioned before, the report hopefully should speak for itself. The Mersey Travel Committee has already considered and considers in great detail the Mersey Travel's budget monitoring performance. There are no risks of any significant overspends or any significant or material underperformance against budgets and targets within those reports within Mersey Travel's area of operation, which I think needs to be brought to the attention of the combined authority. Other than that, I wasn't going to talk through the report, but I can answer any questions that anybody might have.
Thank you, John. Does anybody have any questions of John on this report? Okay, so we can see the recommendations before us. Are they agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you very much. Okay, and then finally, item 10, the minutes of the Mersey Travel Committee held on the 12th of February. Can I ask if these minutes can be confirmed?
Yes.
Agreed. Okay, I've not been informed of any other urgent items. Can I therefore thank everybody for their attendance and contribution, and just remind members that the next meeting of the Combined Authority will be at 11 o'clock on Friday the 17th of April, and I declare the meeting closed. Thank you for your attendance.